Okay, let's talk about a characteristic of a call that's been nicknamed hold. And we get a lot of questions like, what is hold? What are you talking about? And sometimes people hear us making sounds that we have nicknamed Cajun squeal or putting whine into the call, and we get asked about why we're doing that. Some people say it doesn't sound natural. Some people love it and they're trying to incorporate it into their calling. So basically, when we're talking about hold in a call, we're relating it to the back pressure. Okay, so with a call like this, and this is the murder, and this is a call that I use a lot in the field. What this call has, it's I got a really natural raspy sound. It's got a lot of power with it, but because of the back pressure or the hold that's built into it, it allows me to easily put the whines and squeals in there. Now, there's a lot of our calls that have the capability to do the whines and squeals. Back pressure is something we incorporate into a lot of our calls. And some of you guys are using duck calls right now. You're trying to get the whine and squeal in it, but you're not going to get it because if your call does not have that back pressure built into it, it's going to be really hard to get. It's a lot more difficult to get the whine and squeal out of, say, a cut down style call where there's not a lot of built-in back pressure or hold versus a J frame like this. Murder having a short barrel, the way that the exhaust, the airflow through this, it gradually opens up, creates that back pressure, and makes this a lot easier. So when I'm wanting to put a little bit of whine or hold into it, it's like this. And sometimes it's been nicknamed as like Cajun squeal. And what I think when you hear this in a duck, I think mallard hens naturally will have a little bit of a squeak sound to their voice. A lot of them do, some don't, but a lot of them do. And I think when they're in feeding areas, as there is, so they're feeding on rice or corn, as that food is going down, it constricts that airflow for them, that airway. And so you'll hear as they quack and they let out a cadence when they're calling, it's going to give it a little bit more of that squeaky sound. You also detect it in a feed call. If you hear a duck, and a feed call is really just a spacing call. So when you hear them flying overhead, you hear that what we call gabbling. You hear that there's no whine or squeak in there. If they're down in the water, they're actually feeding and that food is going down. I think they're doing the same thing, but because that food is going down into the craw, going down into into their throat, it gives a little bit of a okay. So I'm putting that in with the feed call, and it makes it sound a little bit more natural. Now, if I don't want to make that sound, the call's not going to just automatically squeal or produce that whiny sound. If I can just blow this call straight, and with that, it's all about the shut off. So I'm just shutting it off like a T or a K sound. So quick, 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 quick. If I want it to whine it, what I do at the end of the note, instead of having that sharp shut off, I'm going to push that residual air forward. I'm going to lift my tongue, push my tongue forward. I'm actually going to push that residual air that's inside my mouth, inside the palate. I'm going to push it through the call. I'm going to exaggerate it on this, and it's going to, it sounds like a dog that got kicked or something like that. But I'm going to slow it down. It's going to sound horrible, but this is so you can hear what I'm doing. So I'm not shutting down the note, I'm not shutting it off clean, I'm pushing air at the end. So if I shorten that up, then it gives it that little bit of a squeal. That's what we can nickname Cajun squeal. It gives it a little bit more of a natural sound as you're doing it. So with this call, this is something, a capability that you have in our Freak, the Cash, the Edge, a lot of the different models that we have this capability. The Murder and the MDR being a shorter call, it's a little bit easier to do, one of the easier models. Now we also have in the J frames, this is the Big Hurricane. Big Hurricane, longer barrel, not as much back pressure built into it. So this is for the guys, some guys just don't like a lot of back pressure. to them the call feels sticky, a little bit harder to run. So they want a call that's a little more free running. They don't want that back pressure. So with that, the big hurricane, because it's got less back pressure, less hold, it's just a little bit more of a free running call, and some people they prefer that. So anyway, the amount of hold, the amount of back pressure you got needs to be built into the call that you're using, making it a lot more user friendly, a lot easier to operate.